The leadership race in the United Kingdom is about to draw to a close. The competition has whittled down to two names, Foreign Secretary Liz Truss and former Finance Minister Rishi Sunak. Conservative Party members have until 5 p.m. local time to cast their votes. And the winner will be announced coming Monday. He or she will become the leader of the Conservative Party and Britain's next Prime Minister. So far, opinion polls suggest Ms Truss has an overwhelming majority over Mr Sunak. Mr Sunak had been an earlier favourite in the race, holding the lead in the first few rounds of voting. But he lost it to Ms Truss over the course of the summer-long campaign. And Ollie Barrett joins us live from London. Ollie, what is keeping Ms Truss in the lead, and why did Mr Sunak lose his early lead?
Well, you have to remember that there were two stages to this race. The Conservative Party rules have it that MPs, lawmakers vote first. They whittle down the candidates to the final two. And among Conservative MPs, Rishi Sunak was very much the front runner. He had a huge amount and retains a large amount of support in parts of the party. And really at that stage was, as you quite rightly say, considered the front runner by many. But there was always concern amongst allies from Rishi Sunak because they looked at the polling of Conservative members and it made pretty clear that whoever Rishi Sunak went up against in the final round, once down to that final two, that life was potentially going to be very difficult for him. And that's how it's turned out. As soon as we knew that it was Liz Truss going up against him, the polling was suggesting that Conservative Party members were much more likely to choose her than to choose him. So it's not necessarily that he's run a bad campaign over the course of this summer, but it does appear that he hasn't been able to make up much ground going into that final and very different stage of the race against Liz Truss in front of a different electorate, which clearly decided that she was the Conservative candidate that more stood for the Conservative values that they wanted to see in a leader and a Prime Minister. But that's on the assumption that she wins. It would be a huge upset at this point if Rishi Sunak were to be announced the winner on Monday.
Ollie, the next Prime Minister will face definitely some major challenges, that's putting it mildly. What will be the top concern?
The absolutely number one top concern is going to be the cost of living, and indeed the Conservative Party have had a huge amount of criticism over this British summer in which for weeks they've been engaged in this leadership campaign, because many critics say that actually the cost of living crisis and inflation and rising energy bills wasn't focused on enough early enough in the race. Now that's changed. It's very much been the top focus towards the end of this competition. But again, the Conservatives have been criticised because when Liz Truss, if it is to be Liz Truss, gets her feet under the desk in Downing Street on Tuesday, then we really are only weeks away from what looks like soaring energy bills here in the UK for households up and down the country, and real financial difficulty potentially for individuals, households and businesses as well. So that is absolutely going to be the number one priority for the new Prime Minister. But you add to that Brexit, the Northern Ireland Protocol, various different arguments with the European Union, the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, climate change, all sorts of issues that the UK and other countries around the world are facing in similar ways. And the incoming Prime Minister, if it is to be Liz Truss or even if it's Rishi Sunak, will have quite an in tray.
Oh, thanks for that. Ollie Barrett reporting live to us there from London.